Para muita gente, Londres é sinônimo de originalidade. É como se os londrinos tivessem um instinto infalível para abraçar o novo e transformá-lo em tendência. Por essas e por outras, a cidade foi terreno fértil para todo tipo de música eletrônica. E a loja Phonica, no Sorro, tem tudo a ver com essa história.
Hello, I'm Simon Rigg and this is Phonica Records in London, and we've been here for 10 years, since 2003, and we're a dance specialist. We specialise in electronic music, dance music, and we also specialise in vinyl because there's still a healthy market for records, for 12-inch records and LPs, vinyl LPs. People still want to buy the old format.
The cool thing about this place is that you find things that people press up maybe 100 of a vinyl and they come and sell it here, and it's not even with a record company, it's just a guy. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that I would recommend here. Try and look for the things that you can't find anywhere else.
We're known for being pretty upfront, and I mean, with the exclusive vinyl things, these take a while to get to downloads, because now, in this day and age, if people are promoing a record, then it's everywhere on the internet straight away. So the records that are on vinyl probably take a little bit more time to get out there.
I think when we go record shopping in general, we're really looking for stuff that's only available on vinyl.
A lot of records only come out on vinyl, especially with house music and dubstep and techno and disco, this kind of stuff. It mostly comes on vinyl. So if you're not buying vinyl, you're missing out on a lot of things.
They're heavy to carry around, you know, but you don't, like, when you find that one, the special stuff, vinyl only, or old classics, or repressed, or edits, then it's like really, you got some gold in your DJ set, and the other guys aren't going to have that because most people are too lazy to
carry around vinyl.
Fucks with records these days.
Or they want something special because it is competitive, so against DJs. So if you've got something that you can't get anywhere on the internet as a file, yeah, they want to get that.
What I like about Phonica is that they have a lot of stations to listen to records. Like, some stores won't let you listen, and some record stores are quite horrible. Won't let you listen to it on headphones. They'll play it in the store, and I'm kind of really against that because, again, it's a really personal thing, and I feel like I should be listening to it in headphones and touching the needle and touching the record and being really physical with the music.
Well, we have a lot of turntables because we have a lot of customers. You know, these are always full on a Friday or Saturday afternoon. They're always full and there's people queuing. So we thought about getting some more, but I think we've got enough.
And then we have other guys that come in and want to listen to the whole shop. Or some girls that come in and go, okay, can I hear that row? And we have to take one of each, and then they listen, and then they go, okay, can I have that row?
We go through so many pairs of headphones every month and needles, so I think 8 is enough.
There's been so many moments of, you know, coming here and being handed a record and, you know, putting the needle to the record and you know, like Erotic Discourse by Paul Woolford or This Is Sick by Solid Groove. You know, those moments where within the first 4 bars, you know, you're listening to something great. And the excitement that you hold to kind of take that out and then, you know, play that to a few hundred or a few thousand people as soon as possible.
The thing about London is that even if genres of music are from another place, such as Chicago or Detroit, I think in London and the UK generally is where they become popular, where people hear them and take them as their own. And that's what happened in London in the late 80s, early 90s, and how this strange kind of repetitive music from Chicago and Detroit, you know, turned into this huge phenomenon in the UK. You know, huge raves of 40,000 people around the M25. This is where it happened here. And I think that's continued this whole kind of, the popularity of dance music. This is where it's been most popular. Now maybe over the last few years, Berlin has become the centre for dance music, but it's coming back to London again now.
Alright, it's MTS. You got myself by Phonica covering from Manhattan, Moscow. I'm here till 9 PM. I grew up with a lot of R&B and hip hop, together with a lot of early pop from the 80s and 90s, and listened to a lot of pirate radio stations. London underground club culture, London pirate radio stations. They were like the two most important things that kind of shaped my sound and my style of DJing and my style of producing. It's nice to have seen that kind of progress and kind of be accepted in the world of radio and understand that that pirate radio was something important, especially for kids like me who didn't really have much good stuff to listen to back in the day or didn't have much money to go buy records.
Coming from London, you know, I've never really felt that there's a lack of anywhere to play. There's always somewhere great that you could play on, you know, whatever level you choose to. That's the great thing about London. I never thought that it would be something that I would make a living from, or, you know, anyone would write about me or anything like that. It was merely done for a necessary purpose of just feeling that the necessity to play this music to as many people as possible. I went for a period of only remixing records that I didn't really like, just to make something that I liked. I won't say which ones they were, but they kind of came out quite good. And then I went through another period of just trying to better records that I loved already, which I think is a very big challenge. But those ones, you know, I remixed MGMT, Conan Moccasin, Daft Punk, Chemical Brothers. Franz Ferdinand was the first one, I think, that where it was like the first kind of hit remix for me. So I remember that when I walked into Phonica and Simon told me that they'd sold like 150 copies of it already, which was quite a lot back then. He was like, yeah, your Franz Ferdinand remix is like flying out, which was really nice, you know, because obviously I really respect the store and I respect the people who come here and buy music, you know, so I think it's a very, Phonica has a great balance.
One of my favourite records of the 90s, it was a record called African Drug, made by Bob Holroyd, and I always love that record. It's quite an ambient, African-themed record. Bob Holroyd, the maker of that record, he came into the shop one day and he was selling us some CDs of his works. And I bought his CDs and I said, you've made one of my favourite records, so I would like to relicense that and get someone to remix it, and I've got just the person, and that was Fortet. So he turned it from a 5-minute ambient record into a 12-minute long kind of tribal techno anthem.
I know a lot of people who, from other places, just land and come straight to Phonica, get their records. It's the first thing they do.
People who are in town to DJ will pop in, you know, like Ame, Henrik Schwartz, Dixon will always pop in when they're in town. You know, the list is pretty endless. If people are in town, they'll come in and say hello. The Soul Clap guys are always here. Whenever they're in town, they always come in. I think most of the time they come here straight from the airport and dump their bags in the office, so it's always good to see them.
Sometimes we do mail order, but usually we just come into the shop, see the boys. They let us to go back behind the turntables and
VIP style.
Pick on the wall. That's pretty nice. That was a big, I remember, that was a big privilege. That was a big moment. We knew we made it. You know you made it when you can pull your own records at Phonica.
I can actually remember, and although everyone says this and everyone always has a cool first record, and I don't have a cool first record, but I remember being 13 years old and going to my local youth club and hearing the older guys playing a cassette, and the cassette was The House Sound of Chicago, Volume 1. And since then, I've always loved house music especially, but electronic music, and so that was always going to be what I sold in Phonica.
Phonica, I think, really has the biggest selection of like new disco and house and like cutting edge stuff. I think for us, for our taste. I mean, maybe there's stores that have more on the wall, but for new special stuff, Phonica's always got everything we're looking for.
My favourite days in the shop or evenings have been the in-stores, you know, whether it's Fortet or too many DJs or, you know, there's been so many that I've kind of lost count.
Do you know where your teenager is at 5 o'clock in the morning? The After Hours Club. The clubs attract thousands of Chicago area young people. Some say they come looking for drugs, dirty dancing, and pounding techno music.
I've never put my hands in the air. Never. And we've never really gone like, hey, look at us. I've always found it a bit weird that there's two guys. Okay, maybe their style and the kind of music and the edits and the remixes and the way you do it is special, but I'm not dancing, I'm not doing a show, it's just a guy playing music. I think now people look at a DJ has to have skinny jeans and his t-shirt and tattoos and...
But that's cool, I mean, it's fine, they dress the way they want.
We don't fit that. We really don't.
But it's just this thing where the role of the DJ has just become ridiculous.
We actually had to close the store because everyone knew that they were playing. We didn't announce them, it was a secret guest. And around 6 o'clock we had to get everyone out, and then all the tables where the CDs are, which are in the centre, and the record racks, which luckily are on wheels, we pushed them all aside. And so again, it was like a club. We had a huge dance floor.
We played here and it was fun because I really wanted to be behind the counter and play with the records that are behind us. And it was a lot of fun, and then we played with so many people, and there was people dancing on the it was really fun, it was really nice. It was cool because we come here to buy records and we spend many times here with friends, but I've never been behind the counter DJing, which is really cool. That's fun, it was probably the best time we had here.
My favourite in-store that we've had in the shop has been Fortet, because usually people come and they do an hour set or an hour live performance and they go home. But he wanted to play for longer, and of course there was a really big demand, so we had to close the doors. And so it was like a club. He played for 3.5 hours. And I mean, we have photos of all the windows steaming up. We had to throw a lot of t-shirts away because they were just covered in sweat. At the end, they were hanging up. And at the end of the night, you know, the place was a bit of a mess, but it was worth every minute.
Phonica we've known about for a long time from probably their online newsletters, but then our very dear friend Heidi, who now has a show on Radio 1, BBC, she used to work here in like, what, the 90s?
No, not that
Late 90s?
No, I don't think we were even
2003. 2003.
We didn't have any customers at first, so we slowly built up customers from scratch. But I think one of the most important features of our early years was Heidi.
You know, you had people like Heidi working behind the counter there, and she was already somebody who knew what records I wanted. And that was the great thing about record shopping back then, was you would go to a record shop because there'd be people who worked there who understood or knew what kind of music you wanted.
She was here, she was the assistant manager for maybe 5 years, and she ruled the counter. Basically, this was her counter. So I think she was a key person in why Phonica is successful to this day.
It's usually the best moments aren't actually in Phonica, it's when I get home. If I buy a big pile of records and I get home and I still like those records, then I feel really good about it. That's a really good thing, is when you feel that you've done a really good day's record shopping and you've come back with things that you want to play to other people after that. You know, there's nothing worse than buying a record and never playing it again.
What I used to do when I used to go to record stores is try and find my record and put it at the front of the pocket. If I couldn't find my album, I would just try and... Hype It Up's got their own section, so yeah.
The Padlock one we got here.
Oh, yeah.
That's the best one.
That's the one.
There's this album, it's called Padlock. It's produced by Sly and Robbie with Gwen Guthrie on vocals.
My favourite aspect of it is gaining knowledge of music, you know, during your normal working day. That's great. That's like a payment in itself.
You know, I've worked in record shops since I was 13 years old, and the thing I still enjoy is when somebody comes in and they don't really know what they want. They've just heard house music or whatever, or a particular genre of music, and they want something like that. Or they can hear the music when they come in and they're like, I want something like this. And you give them a load of records and they're like, perfect.
There's a few regular guys that go from being quite hard work, awkward, just to the other end, which is they are searching desperately for music that they have in their head, or they want to hear but maybe just doesn't exist. You get guys like that, which is fine because that means they're passionate and they're on a never-ending quest to find these tracks.
There's also, for me, I love the 45 wall. The 7-inch wall is really dope. There's always some cool edits and exclusive stuff on there, and I always carry around a little bag of 45s for like the after party or more chill out time. So Phonica's always got good 45s.
I mean, it shows that we're doing something right because we're still here, even though we opened in 2003, and we're still here 10 years later, whereas shops that had been open for 20 years before had gone down, unfortunately. So it's very sad to see all these shops go, but the ones that are left are really, everyone has their niche and they're really good at what they do, including us, hopefully.
Fazendo a coisa certa, a Phonica se provou o destino de quem ama ver uma pista lotada e continua contribuindo para que gente do mundo inteiro dance sem poder parar.